I'm Kellie Raspberry here with the American Heart Association and the Go Red for Women movement. And joining me is a very special guest, Chloe Burke. Now, isn't she the picture of health? She is a fitness instructor. To look at her, you'd think there was nothing wrong. But Chloe, you actually suffer from a very rare heart defect. Why don't you share your story with us?
Absolutely. I had a congenital heart defect I went my entire life undiagnosed with. I was actually experiencing symptoms related to my heart as young as middle school, but I didn't know they were related to my heart because I didn't know what heart symptoms looked like. I was frequently getting lightheaded. I was passing out. I was losing my vision because my brain and my body wasn't getting any oxygen. So I lived my entire life with these symptoms thinking that it was normal, thinking that a lot of people deal with these symptoms when they try to run or when their heart rate gets too high. And as I was getting older, my symptoms were becoming more aggressive, and it ultimately led to me losing consciousness at a football game when I was a collegiate cheerleader. And that sparked a year of medical testing, including 12 different heart procedures until they finally found my specific heart condition.
Wow. So you had to have CPR on the field of the game in order to save your life. And then it took a year to figure out what was going on?
Yeah, my specific heart defect didn't have traditional symptoms. So this is something I had to learn right off the bat as a 21-year-old female, how to advocate for myself. It's something I was never taught. It's something they don't really teach you in school. So I had to kind of figure out my own signs and symptoms, how I could document them and present them to doctors and help find a diagnosis.
And once you had the diagnosis, where do you go from there?
I had a very, very rare congenital heart defect, and they knew what was wrong with me, but no one could perform the surgery. So
Because it was so rare.
Yes,
Okay.
because the specific surgery was so rare. I actually went to almost every cardiology, what it seemed like, in the Houston Medical Center, one of the biggest medical centers in our country, and none of the doctors would touch me because the surgery was too risky. But luckily, because of funding from the American Heart Association, I was able to go to Stanford Cardiology in Palo Alto and have a very specific heart surgery that I needed to fix my condition.
Now, there's something really cool that you've done, because you are a former elementary school teacher and you got with the Texas legislature somehow to make some big changes. Why don't you explain that? I'm sure you can do it better than I can.
Absolutely. The American Heart Association reached out to me. I had done a lot of volunteering, so I knew a lot of people in the American Heart Association, and they reached out to me thinking I would be a great fit to advocate on behalf of the American Heart Association to the Texas legislature in terms of appropriating annual funding for CPR and AED training in all Texas public schools. Right now, they had just set a law requiring CPR and AED training, and then of course the pandemic happened, and now they're trying to figure out how to reroute that. Well, the AHA says if we can specifically require funding to be redirected towards CPR and AED training, which is a skill that saves lives and teaches kids how to take a proactive approach in any situation and not just a reactive approach, that is what they're currently pushing for and advocating for, and we're hoping they say yes.
What is your message for women who maybe, you might be experiencing a little fatigue or something a little bit out of the ordinary, but you're like, well, I'm busy, the holidays are coming up, I've got an anniversary, and they just put off going to the doctor. What would your message be to them today?
My message would be that your feelings are valid and that you need to listen to that and you need to be your own advocate. I dismissed my own feelings for years. I thought it was normal. And even when I knew it wasn't normal, I kind of diminished what I was really going through because I was so focused on helping everyone else around me and just going through life every single day. I think it's important to remember your body is the one thing that you have. You don't get another heart. You don't get another body. You don't get another life. So prioritizing that above everything else so that you are your healthiest version of yourself and being able to set that example for other people is what I would encourage women to do.
Well, Chloe Burke, not just a survivor, but now an advocate, making it her life's mission. Thank you so much for being here today. And thank you to the American Heart Association and the Go Red for Women movement.